All right, good morning.
Good morning.
We're the 2021 Board of Equalization Review for Union County. We've been appointed by the county commissioners to hear any and all taxpayers with respect to concerns or complaints regarding the valuation of the property for tax purposes. Property owners appearing before the Board of Equalization and Review have the right to a fair and equitable hearing. The Board of Equalization and Review has been charged with ensuring that the proper legal principles have been applied in evaluating the dispute for tax purposes. Here's the format. The clerk calls a case and locates the property or explains the situation of its personal property. The appellate presents his or her case. The assessor's office offers their defense. Both parties will be given opportunity to conclude their comments. All questions should be directed to me or the board. The board will rule the case or table it and inform the taxpayer when it will be reopened. The taxpayer will be notified in writing of the board's decision. By statute, the burden of proof is on the taxpayer to demonstrate that the assessment is erroneous. I'd ask that you please silence your cell phones. And as soon as we hear all the cases and conclude the testimony, we begin our deliberations. At that time, the county staff will leave, and you're welcome to stay or leave, but no comments will be heard after that. All right, let's get started.
Tab number 1, hearing parcel ID number 071-29193, Alexander William Larry. And he also got here tab number 2, parcel ID number 071299191.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. I have printed out copies. Do you all need those of
I don't have it.
information?
Probably do, sir. Yeah, we don't have anything.
Yes.
Do you just have one sheet in your book?
Just hand him that young lady over there. If you would, go up to the microphone, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
And can the county locate the property for me?
It's up.
It's up? Okay.
It's right there in the corner.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
Kind of directions how to get there.
All right, Mr. Alexander, go right ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm just being unfamiliar with the whole process and this and that and the other. I'm just now getting some information from the appraiser that makes a little bit more sense to me. But still, there's land associated beside this property, which initially was valued at $33,000, dropped to $23,300. My house actually sits on 2 lots beside that. And so the house was built in the 40s, no updates, and bad system, bad sewer system, land got passed through the county for a sewer system. I'm assuming that was in the summertime because it wouldn't have passed in the winter at any point throughout. The whole neighborhood is like that. Sewer problems throughout the neighborhood. We don't have county sewer. So, you know, I really don't have, you know, the comps. You know, I don't... You know, I just feel like the thing is worth, you know, approximately what the previous tax value was.
And refresh my memory, what was that again?
I feel like the property should have been assessed for what the previous tax value was.
And what was that amount?
I'm thinking that was about $77,000.
We're talking about lot, parcel number 1, the parcel number 1, the lot, yeah.
I'm sorry, I may be, I'm talking about I'm talking about the house.
Okay.
Am I on the wrong one?
Yeah, well, you've got, parcel one is, they're telling you they think the value's $1,200.
And that's correct, sir.
So you
I'm
agree?
sorry,
You agree with that one?
I do agree with that one.
Okay.
Right, sir, I'll agree with that one. It had a perk test and it failed, and so that, the unbuildable portion of it is,
Okay.
that's what it is.
So you mentioned the 77,000, that's your actual home.
That's right, sir.
Okay.
Which are the two lots, sitting beside the two lots that are unbuildable. So it's a sewer issue there throughout the whole neighborhood also in the wintertime. The house built in the 40s, no upgrades. It actually needs to be bulldozed, but I don't think you could put one back, there because of the bad land, that it won't accept a sewer. But, that's about all I have,
Okay.
pertaining to that.
All right, do you mind if we ask you a few questions?
Go right ahead, sir.
All right, Mark?
Yeah, I just have a simple question here. Lot number, that, where your house is supposedly located, the parcel ID is last three digits, 191. It's right up here on this corner by this map, and right beside it is 192. Is that part of your property too? Or?
It is, sir.
And
Right.
then the one that you said no perk and it's not any good and it's 1,200 is fine with you is the 193, is that correct?
Well, sir.
That's the one you said you agree with the county, because those are the two. We have 193 and 191, but we don't have 192.
Mark, if I may,
Yeah.
the parcels are 191 and 192. The house actually sits over both of them, but we just put it on the 191.
Why do I have a 193?
That's the other, that's the vacant lot.
Vacant lot.
Okay.
Tab one.
That's tab one, that's
No,
hearing one, right?
Yeah.
it's not unusual out there to have to get 3 or 4 parcels together, land and park.
Okay.
So it's very typical to have 3 or 4 lots.
Right.
But I
Okay.
do get your point. I don't know where 192 is. It doesn't seem to be appealing.
Yeah, I was just looking at this. I don't. Okay. And for hearing number 2, the lot 191, which is either combined to 192 or whatever, I got it all confused, is $70,000. You said you're
77.
77.
Few things.
All right. I don't have any other questions.
That's the parcel that the house sits on.
Yeah,
So-
that's why I was pointing. Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
sir.
I got it.
Ray, you got any questions?
Yeah, you said you thought the prior value was 77,000?
Yes, sir.
You recently had an appraisal made, you said?
No, sir. I didn't, no,
And
sir. I had no appraisal made.
And your opinion of value is 0?
No, sir. I said 77. What the previous appraisal was, that's what I think it should be.
What it was last time? Okay, that's all.
That's right, sir.
Okay.
I mean, it's still the same house. Nothing's changed, built in the 40s and all of that kind of stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Dutch, you got anything?
Yeah. Did you see the comps that the county had? The comparable sales that the county had?
I do, sir.
Yeah. And then the only other question I had on the septic and drain field, is all that on 191 and 192?
On the lots that the house sit on, yes,
Right,
sir.
Nothing, there's nothing on
No, sir.
193,
No,
so you
it's,
just have that as a buffer?
Well, actually, there was a perk test done on it and it failed.
Right,
But I just, it's just
just
land.
extra land?
It's
Yeah.
land I purchased separately later on.
Right, okay,
Yeah, it is.
yeah. When did you buy it?
Probably about 86.
Okay, long time ago.
Something like
Long time
that.
ago. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have any other questions.
All right, we'll hear from the county right now, if you don't mind, sir. Thank you.
Say again, sir?
We're gonna hear from the county.
Oh, yes,
The
sir.
county's gonna talk about their opinion of your lot or your value of your property.
Yes, sir.
Just go ahead and have a seat if you would. Thank you, Mr. Alexander.
Yes,
Morning. Yeah, and so on this particular one, there was multiple, I guess, appeals on the parcels. I know we had an appeal up for 191 and 193. He also owns 192 and 194. 194 was the one that was appealed, and we did have a home site price on that one, and that value has been reduced. We had it at, our original value was $33,300, and we did reduce that to the unbuildable land rate of $1,200. There is a outbuilding valued at $1,000 on that one, so the total value for 194, we have.
Greg, hang on a second. 194 is not even in this list.
Yeah, I'm just making a statement, all four parcels are.
Okay.
As he was speaking earlier about the PERT in the lots, but there was an appeal on 194, and that may be the one that he was referring to as opposed to 193 about the value, because that one was reduced. So, you know, as far as the house goes, you know, I had some 2020 comps I used in Comper. You know, it made some adjustments. The assessed value is $126,800. The Comper report come in at $130,000 using homes within the neighborhood. And so, you know, all four parcels and the home together, you know, all of those are valued at $131,500, counting all four parcels of land and the home and outbuildings. And so that's kind of what we're looking at all together there. You know, I wasn't able to do anything as far as condition. We've got the house listed as a Fair Plus 1940. You know, it is listed currently in average condition. I don't have any, you know, photos or you know, anything that condition related on that. So that's how it's priced. But that's what we have on that.
Now, did he get 4 separate tax bills on the 4 parcels that he owns?
Yes, they will be separate.
So,
And I know we had appeals, obviously on 191 and 193. We also had on 194.
what about 192?
I'm not sure. I don't.
'Cause his house sits on part of that.
Yeah, actually, it was appealed as well. It was, and it was a no change. We have $1,200 on that parcel,
Okay.
and we no changed it. But all 4 parcels were appealed, and we no changed 191, 192, and 193. 194 was adjusted from $33,300 to $2,300.
Ray, any questions for the county? Dutch?
I'd just like to maybe get a rough idea of where this is. I mean,
Yep.
You just go live on the screen.
Yeah, we can do that. It's, let's see.
This is going to be, it's off of Old Monroe Road.
yeah,
before
Old
you get
Monroe Road
Stallings.
is coming this, well, I don't know what happened here. It's kind of close to Potter Road and Old Monroe Road.
I know what you're talking about now.
Greg, can you take the labels off?
I'm not sure if I can or not. I'd be happy to, but I'm not sure.
I just wanted to get the area. I know now.
Yeah,
By the rocks.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 That's good.
Mark, you got anything for the county?
No, Greg, I'd have a hard time doing what you're doing too, so
Yeah,
don't feel bad.
this is not-
Mike, you got
this-
anything, sir? Sorry, I missed you a while ago. All right, thank you.
All right, appreciate it. So I'll go ahead and pull up the next one.
Tab number 3, parcel ID number 093 72014R. Alan Sherry.
All right, so this one is on Price Shortcut Road. Right here is Rocky River Road. Price Shortcut comes off Sanford Lane. Gold Mine's up this way, but subject's right here on Price Shortcut Road.
Good morning, Miss Allen.
Good morning. I'm a bit hoarse.
Beg your pardon? Oh, bless your heart. Okay.
I'm a bit hoarse. I've been sick
We'll
since
listen good.
January with COVID. So please forgive me. Thank you for allowing me to come. My property was a house that I had to purchase under extreme conditions. The loan went through and everything. The loan went through an hour and 45 minutes, totally. So I had 3 weeks to find a place to go, and this is where I found. It was bought as is. There were 47 major things that needed to be done. And not too long after that, I got laid off at work. I'm an engineering designer, and I'm still unemployed right now. I was taking the fact that it was I bought it for $141, and when I bought it, I did not have much money at all to do any renovations, to do any of the 47 lists. The only thing she did was the inspector came out and the state made her fix the sewage line, and the hot water heater was in a tub full of water with rust pouring into the floor. She did that, nothing else. And I haven't had the money to fix it. And when I got my paperwork saying that they were going up $105,000, about had a heart attack because nothing has been done. I haven't had the money. My neighbor gave me pavers and things for the backyard so my grandchildren could ride their little tricycles. And I got some more off of Craigslist. I can't even afford the $54 for the stuff to put underneath it. So it's just sitting, the house. We're living in it, and there's no bathroom ceiling, popcorn. It's just as bad as I could handle. And right now, I was very grateful that Greg worked with me, Mr. Almond, and tried to drop the price for me, but I still can't afford it. Thanks to being unemployed, where all these people get all these monies, I got $57 a week unemployment before taxes. So instead of being 4 months in forbearance, I'm now 7. And I'm fighting, trying, because there's no family members. All I've got is me and my son, his wife, and 2 kids. So I have to fight for my property, but it's not worth $105. I actually, when I bought it, didn't think it was worth $140. I seriously didn't. And so I'm grateful for the opportunity to bring it to your attention, but when I sent the comp pictures in that I found, y'all sent me back some. You can't adjust anything going when 3 of the pictures are 2-story houses. I have a little manufactured home. So my realtor helped me and sent me some better ones, which I've given y'all. And I'm just begging you to please reconsider, because I can't afford $200 more a month. I'm gonna lose my house, and I have no family else. I have nowhere to go. And I've sold everything I can to try to put the power on. So I'm asking you to please reconsider. And like I said, I'm very grateful for Greg. He dropped the price, and he did drop it down to fair market. But I'm on the edge of disability, and I'm not gonna do it because I can't. I need to work, I need to pay for my house. But I can't afford $105
Do you have an opinion of what the tax value should be?
I was told it was around 140, and I think the tax value is actually more like 150.
So you think it's 150?
I do,
Okay.
and that's just being fair. Yeah, I'd like it to be down lower, but that's just being fair.
When did you buy the home again? I might have missed-
September 27th,
Of the last year?
2 years. It'll be 3 years this,
So they, in
September.
So is it
2018?
yes.
Okay.
18.
And, let's see. I think that's, Ray, you got any questions for Ms. Allen?
Ms. Allen, thanks for coming in. This is a manufactured home,
Yes.
it's like a double wide kind of thing, or?
Well, it's not a double wide. There is an attic to it.
Okay.
I don't go in it because there's things in there, you know,
Yeah.
like in the ocean.
Manufactured, okay,
I don't go in the ocean either.
okay.
But, the only thing I've done was, there was a driveway, and we have multiple vehicles, and we were having to trample in mud. And when we looked at it, there was half a gutter on the back, but that disappeared. We don't even have gutters. You're gonna get drenched trying to get in the house.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That's great.
I appreciate your
Ma'am,
time.
when,
No, hang on a minute,
Yeah.
we're not through with you yet, just
Okay.
hang on.
when you're talking about the condition of the home, did you make any pictures and show the county any current pictures of the property?
I've got the assessment from when it was done,
Not,
but, I didn't have time to get copies made.
okay, okay.
But I do have that, if you'd like me to go make copies and bring them back.
No,
It's kinda thick. But there was,
we know that's back when you bought the property.
If you don't
Yes.
mind, give that to the young lady up here, and we can pass it down.
Yeah.
sure.
You got anything else? Mark, you got anything?
So you acquired the property in 218 for 141 or something? What
Yes.
did- And your opinion of value now is 150? Okay.
The only thing I've
So when you
done is
acquired the
put-
property, was it in a foreclosure or anything?
No,
No, just,
the lady had 5,
Offers.
second mortgages on it.
okay.
She thought it was worth like $200,000, and we're like, I don't think so.
All right.
In the
No-
paperwork, there is a letter back from, an email from my realtor to me, and it's got a list, it's 2 pages, the bottom and then the second page. Those are all the things that needed to be done.
Yep, okay. I don't have any questions.
Mike, you have any questions?
And you are not the only one living in the household.
No, sir, my son and his wife and 2 kids, and she's pregnant, are temporarily there right now.
Okay.
Any other thing, Miss Allen, that you think of? All right, if you don't mind, we're here from the county now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time.
And wish you the best, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, on this property, it is a modular home, which, you know, from the county standpoint, we view those as site-built homes. So as far as the schedule values are priced as a site-built home, you know, as opposed to a manufactured house, a double-wide, which has its own separate schedule of values. Originally, you know, our original assessment was at $245,400. On the informal level, I took and did the compare. With it being a site-built home, I did have to use site-built houses as comps. My number 1 comp was a modular home that sold within Sun Valley, and then the other homes were similar in square footage in year built. And that got the value down to $227,100. Then at the BR level, I spoke with Miss Allen. I was also able to look at some online photos from the original MLS listing of the home and to kind of look inside. And the interior quality was, I think, very similar to a double-wide mobile home in some of the, you know, qualities. I know I talked with her about the popcorn ceiling. It doesn't have the regular sheetrock like some modular homes do. It's got the wallboard with the strips. And so for that reason, I lowered the grade on the home from average to fair grade. And that reduced the value to 194.5. And that's where we're at with that one. Like I said, that's, I did change it to a fair grade on the home, but, so right now our value's at 194.5.
Okay. Mike, you got a question for the county? Mark?
So, did you go into the house, you said?
I did not go into the house. No, I looked at online photos that were from the original listing of the property when it sold.
Okay.
They were still online, you know, and just able to kind of observe, you know, like I said, the wall boards, popcorn ceiling, and, you know, as we spoke.
So by looking at those pictures, you feel the grade of the house is what, a fair?
I lowered it to fair, yes.
Okay. I don't have any more questions.
Typically, for modular homes, we put them about a half grade down, you know, generally speaking, you know, since they are using the schedule values for site-built homes. But, you know, they're not all, you know, they're like any other home, there's a wide range in qualities, and just kind of based on those interior photos with the carpet and the things, I went with fair grade on that one, felt that was the most applicable.
Okay. So just by chance, what's the grade below that?
Well, you can go fair
fair-
minus, and then you're at poor.
Okay. All right, and you chose not to because you still felt it was in fair condition?
Yeah, as far as condition goes, you know, you know, we talked about popcorn ceiling and some things that are more of the minor nature, which, you know, I left it in average condition.
Okay, good deal. All right, no other questions?
Dutch, you have anything?
No, I think the questions that he just answered kind of got answered mine too, about the grade. Yeah.
Ray?
Yeah, I got, we were just handed this document here. Is that part of the county's stuff?
I'm not sure what you have, not seen that.
Well, show some comps in here. Is 6606 Sturdivant Landing Drive, Monroe. The manufactured home sold for $150,000.
So I do know that she did have originally in her appeal some comps that were using modular homes. Typically, we do not use mobile homes, you know, as a, you know, a direct comparable in our sales comparisons.
Okay. Yeah, that's a mobile home.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, we typically don't use those as our comps unless, you know, we try to compare mobile homes to mobile homes and modulars with other modulars, or since they're priced as site-built as such.
Yeah, the only one that's manufactured is this one on Rocky River, sold for $115,000. That's all I have.
Okay.
All right, thanks, sir.
You done? You want this back?
Tab number 4, parcel ID number 07117-083, Ryan Smith.
This is on Brandon Oaks Parkway, Braxton Drive. You'll see it's right here close to Old Monroe Road.
How you doing, Smith?
Hey, good morning, how are you?
Doing fine, hope you are, sir.
Good. Just before I start, I emailed some items to the tax administrative office, just making sure you guys got them. There was photographs of about 12 properties, and they were kind of attachments to my original appeal letter.
We got some pictures.
Yes, sir. Okay, great. So, again, thank you for listening to me this morning here. So I had prepared and submitted a letter back in March, which was the initial, my initial appeal. And I had outlined and put together a list of what I felt was comparable homes, and it was utilizing the software from the county website, but also more importantly was an actual physical assessment that I actually did. So I actually walked the neighborhood and came up with 12 properties that are within 0.2 miles of my house. As I outlined, I put the address, the year, and the assessed value per square foot as the county came up with. And as you can see, they're all the same year, the same. It's a one-story ranch home, same within 1 year of my property, and of similar or of the same model. And you can see that the average value, assessed value per square foot it came out to be $150 a square foot. My property is assessed at $166 a square foot. So that is a difference of $16 a square foot, which I feel is just, my home is at this point an outlier. One of the homes I had chosen sold in May of 2020, which was within a year of the date of this letter, which I felt was a accurate market value, because that was one of the criteria of the appraisals. Doing the reappraisals is what, homes sold within the last 3 years. That's kind of what they went up against. Following that submission of the letter, I did get a appeal applied back from the county, and basically he was saying that they solely used the software to make the adjustments and determination of my property, which I kind of take a little exception to, because they did provide 4 homes comparable to, in their opinion, comparable to mine. 2 of those 4 homes are 2-story houses. I provided a list of 12 properties that were, again, either the exact same model or similar model. 3 of the homes that I listed on my letter are actually on my street. 1 house down is the exact same model house as mine. It was built 2 years earlier, but the exact same property, and that is listed at more than $10 a square foot less than my property. I'll also add, as far as my property is concerned, there's been no improvements to it. And the county did list my property as a brick exterior versus a vinyl exterior, which these houses that I have, the exact same model, they listed as a vinyl siding. Mine does have brick, but it's only decorative. So the majority of the square footage of the house is vinyl, which has a little to do with how they price up the reappraisal to that. So again, in my opinion, I was requesting that my assessed value be lowered to this 5422 Beaver Creek Court at $158 a square foot. Again, average value $150, mine $166. If you didn't feel that was a reasonable market value, I would still like to hear your case, and overall would still like that lowered.
What's your opinion of the tax value, sir?
My opinion is it would be right around that average, would be, right at $150 a square foot.
Oh, you didn't do the math before you got here?
What's that?
You don't know the tax value of your house?
Oh, the tax value of my house,
That you think?
I believe it was 157 and change, 157,000. That was, the
Prior?
Yes, that was the prior, and the new one is at 239.5. I also like to add too that, in their response letter, basically they said, I do not believe a change is warranted. And, I just wanted to bring facts into this argument, but, looking at the packet I got, a majority of the people are coming back for an appeal for a second time based on a change that the county accepted. I had no change, and I feel that I provided, a list of comparable homes, again, within 0.2 miles of my house. They were 1-story, ranch homes, vinyl with decorative brick siding, and again, of the same or similar model, and that's why I kind of presented those photographs to you. You know, the software, like if you looked on my property, the software spit out two-story homes, some a little further away from my house, although they were all in Brandon Oaks. You know, I think it's really important that you did go out there and do an actual physical assessment, you know, where you walk the streets and took some photographs and see how, you know, physically they compare to your house.
So if I hear you correctly, you think the value, an average is 150 a square foot.
Yes, sir.
So then if I do the math on that, that's 216,300.
That sounds about right, yes.
Okay, so that,
So, yeah, multiplied by the total square foot of my home.
so that's what you think your tax value should be?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Mike, you got any questions for?
No, you did it. Thank you for that information, 216, because that does help.
You got any questions, Mike? No. Mark, got any questions for Mr. Ryan Smith? Dutch?
Not except, did you see the comps that the county came up with? Because these look fairly close, and they all look to be one-story homes, and
I mean, I'm looking at 2 of the 4 two-story houses. And maybe one of them is, it looked like one of them, the upstairs was turned into an attic, but definitely comp number 2, that's a two-story home. And comp 3, no, not comp 3.
yeah, I was
Yeah, it
curious why.
was comp 3. It looked like in the one picture that they had like it looked like they turned the attic into a room, but I may be wrong, but still, I mean, 50% or 25% of the 4 are a two-story, so I didn't think that was a reasonable comparable home. Again, I just again wanted to stress too, again for consideration, a house, literally one house down, the exact same model, exact same time period for when the builder built the house. Can't remember the builder's name, but they only built like, I think, 6 of the homes on Braxton Drive, and then they skedaddled. But literally $10 less a square foot mine. And then if actually you go around Islesbury, which is the adjacent street, if you kind of zoomed out, it goes around. If you go down Braxton Drive and you turn left, there's 2 homes, again, exact same model as mine, the exact same, and they're at $10 less a square foot than mine.
Okay.
Okay, I don't have any other questions.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, we'll hear from the county.
Yeah.
And good luck to your football team.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, I appreciate your time.
Yes, sir.
Randy?
I'm sorry, Ray, go ahead. I'm sorry. I might have missed Ray.
Just to make sure.
Ryan,
He's
hang on a
okay.
minute. Okay.
I can yell. This schedule you put together,
Yes, sir.
this is of the current valuation by the county, right?
Yes, sir. I like, as I mentioned, I utilized the software to come up with the new improved value of those homes, and then compared to how mine was assessed as well.
Okay, my next question's for the county, so you can.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
All right, we'll hear from the county.
Now, we get tired of looking at me today.
So that's your day, that's your day, Greg.
Yes, we are.
That's all right. So, with this property, you know, we did look at it, you know, at the informal level. I did the comper, you know, felt like we had very good comps coming out of the neighborhood on 2020 sales there. The number 1 comp, it's, you know, within 24 square feet of the subject. This looks like the same year built, and it sold for $240 in September of 2020. Our total assessed value on the subject property is $239,500. When I did the grid estimate, the moving average, bringing in the 4 homes there in the neighborhood, the moving average was $242,200, which was higher than our assessed value, so therefore I didn't change. I know I looked on my appeal response. I don't have all his appeal information in front of me that was originally submitted, but I do know when he was comparing to 5422 Beaver Creek, you know, that home is about 400 square foot larger, and I think some of the data that he had originally sent with this appeal were 2018 and 2019 sales. But like I say, using the comper, you know, most comparable sales, it seems to support the assessed value.
Okay. Ray, any questions for the county?
No.
Dutch?
I don't.
Mark?
Did you have a chance to look at his equity issue on, I think it's 317 Braxton Drive, you know, the sheet that he said all these square footages and this is the value the county has on it?
I have not looked at
Because see,
that.
you know, I assume if these are the right values, like Ray said earlier, are these the correct values that the county has on it right now for 2021?
I can't speak to that,
You
but I don't
can't
have
speak
that
to
information in front of me.
Okay, well, I just noticed that the 317 Braxton Drive, and he's at 301. It was built in 95, he was 97, and that square footage is 156. You know? And I'm just saying out loud, I think, you know, we have to look, if these numbers are correct, from 150 to 156, I don't know what the difference is unless Randy uses his calculator.
Which I am doing right now.
156 is 224.9.
Okay, so that's the example I'm giving is, but I can't use that unless the county, I mean, somebody's got to verify these are the correct amounts for
I
square
think
foot.
there's a very relevant piece of data in this list is how large are these homes? Because obviously the price of the lot gets divided by that and everything else, so.
Outbuildings, you know, if they have any.
Well, your lot values out there are 48.8.
Right, and my
I mean,
point
they're all the
being,
same.
If it's like Greg said, one is 400 square feet larger, we're gonna charge a little bit less per square foot as it gets larger. And additionally, that 48,000 is getting divided by more square footage. So, yeah, we can very easily see a 16-foot variation between a house that's 2,000 feet compared to one that's 1,500. That's what I think is missing, and what would be interesting, are these relatively the same size homes? And we don't know that.
Anyway, I just wanted to make sure, so you really don't know for sure on 317 Braxton Drive, it is tax value based at 156 a square foot. You don't know, okay.
I don't have the information in front of me on that property.
Might need that information, but I don't have any more.
Mike, you got any questions?
You said your best comp was 5336 Courtfield?
Yeah, that was the
22.
number one comp. It had a 2% gross adjustment, 0% net adjustment. It sold in September for $240. The adjusted sales price of that would be $238,950, which there again supports our assessed value of $239,500.
Okay.
Randy, I got one more.
Sure, sure you can.
Just on your schedule of comps, just correct my math if you would. On comp number 1, you have a value of $238,950. I think that's the number, right?
Yes, sir.
The value per square foot would be based on the 1466.
Well, if you're using the adjusted sales price, you would probably want to go with the 1442 because it's already, that adjusted sales price has been adjusted to match the 1442.
But if I was to calculate from this schedule, the value per square foot for the county would be $238,950 divided by 1466.
You would, if you want to compare it for the subject, I mean, if you want to do it, I mean,
I'm just.
it's already adjusted for square footage, you know, so I think you probably have to divide it by the 1442.
Okay, so if I do that math, I'm coming up with $162 a square foot to come up to your value of $238,950. Is that right?
If that's how the math works out, I don't have a calculator in front of me.
It does.
Okay.
So he's at 156 something? Is that right?
I think so. I think he had said 150.
I'm at 160.
Both value, okay.
Square foot value.
Okay, that's all I have, Randy.
And their break points, you know, the smaller the house, obviously, the higher the price per square foot on these there are. That's typical.
Thank you.
Yeah, but don't you think it's strange that his house is still 166 no matter how many square feet you have compared to the ones he's listed?
I
And I don't
have
know.
asked one of the staff members to get the square footage on those other listed homes, I think.
Okay.
You know, I'm gonna make the assumption that they're quite a bit larger. And that math does typically work that way, but, you know, I don't have that information at the moment. As soon as I
Yeah.
get it, I'll share it with you.
That'd be great, because I don't have that information either.
Yeah, I would speak to it if I had it, I'm sorry.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. There's no tab number for the following, and this would be parcel ID number 06096-075, Mr. Sexton.
You're up,
Mr. Sexton.
Mr. Sexton. We don't have, do we have you provided any information to the county, Mr. Sexton, on this?
No, sir, I'm going to use your information.
Come on up if you would.
I didn't want to rub him the wrong way.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and sorry we got off to a rough start, but I kind of feel like the guy who was charged and having to prove his innocence, I guess. But in today's market, it's a seller's market right now, and people are getting $50,000, $60,000 more than the house is selling for. And I know some of those situations personally. And in a seller's market, it's an unrealistic market. It's an inflated market that's temporarily on a bubble, but the sellers are reaping the windfall. And that's what we have going on right now, pretty much in this whole geographical area of the country. And, you know, it just seems like to me with the pandemic of 2020, the revow could have been postponed since we had schools, churches, restaurants, everything shut down for a year, especially with senior citizens being the most vulnerable during that time period. And I'm one of those. I'm 72, and I've been retired almost 13 years. And when you're retired on a fixed income and, and you're in that position of maintaining a household, and just to kind of give you a comparison from 2010 to 2014, my assessed value was 175, 170, and from 2015 to 2020, it was 198, 200. It went up $100,000 for this year. Now, that just doesn't ring familiar with me. That just seems like it's over the top. And I'd like to know how the process could factor in that much value to my home. I've lived there 41 years, and all of the comps that were sent to me are homes that have been sold 4 and 5 times. I'm one of the original people in my area. And if you look at the comps, you can see that. The sale price, not available. Every other comp has a sale price on there except mine, and there's a reason for that. But the hardship that it creates is one that's unnecessary. And I know the one size fits all is an easy matrix for figuring these things, and it just kind of lumps everybody together. But there's some very distinguishing differences from case to case. And when you consider, I haven't had any kids in the schools for over 30 years. All of these things that impact and cover the quality of life that we've had. And I never had a problem with a previous reval and valuation. I accepted those for what they are. This is the first time I've been here in 41 years. So I take exception to the $100,000 increase in my property because I've done nothing different. That's a 68.5% increase over 2020. And there's absolutely no justification for that. And I think when right now, what adds to the burden of the Union County residential community is the fact that Union County doesn't have an interstate, so it's hard for economic development to lure businesses to this area to offset and increase that residential versus commercial balance that we need desperately. Union County is roughly 80% residential, 20% commercial, industrial. We need, a perfect world would be somewhere around 60-40. And that way the commercial, industrial, they don't put any kids into school. They don't create any of those things, fire rescue, things like that, except when you get back to the quality of life, we come back down to the bare basics. So I throw the economic development in there just as I guess a broader spectrum of what would help residential property owners like myself, especially retired people, if we had that balance a little closer to 60-40. And we don't have that, and there's a lot of reasons why. But Union County is still a great place to live, raise a family, and I wouldn't have been here 41 years if that hadn't have been the case. I'd just like to see some fairness on mine at this time, with prayer for judgment for everyone here and the deliberation that you go through. Because I know being appointed to this position, it's automatically into a contentious almost situation by the fact that it's an equalization and review board, and I understand that. But I've accepted the value of my property for 41 years, and I'd like to have that consideration now of some fairness that I think is desperately missing, because my property hasn't gone up $100,000 since last year.
What's your opinion of the value right now, Mr. Sexton? Your tax value?
Well, I'm not going to say it should be exactly what it was. I mean, I would take a reasonable increase just by the fact, the cost of living and what else. But $100,000 is ridiculous. And right now, well, the last one was 198.2, and I think 10 or 15,000 over that would be a reasonable increase if I have to go along, because I want to be reasonable, and that's why I'm here, because I'm faced with a situation that I feel like is very unreasonable. And the comps are very interesting, and if you have those before you, comp number one, that is a very unfair.
We don't have anything, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just wondering, excuse me, what hearing are we on?
We have
It was in addition to the agenda.
Okay, it's number 5. Okay, I didn't, because I was trying to find these comps and everything too.
Well, welcome to the club. I was as confused as you are when I got here.
Well, I mean, for me to make a decision, I need that kind of data, on the value of your property.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying I need that information in front of me, so that's why I'm a little.
Well, this is what was sent to me by your office, or
Okay.
by the tax administrator, and I'm just using that.
Since we don't have it, if you would, what's the tax value based on what the county has assessed you at?
289.2.
289.
I think Donnie's going to get that list of comps.
Is it?
He's making copies.
Okay, okay.
Okay, I'm going to say it again. Is he on this agenda?
It was an addition.
It's an add-on, and we don't have any information in front of us.
Not like this man.
Okay.
While we're waiting on Donnie, I'll add just a couple of items of information from Mr. Sexton. You spoke to the reval being postponed.
I'm sorry, what?
You spoke to the reval possibly being postponed when you started your presentation. This was not an option this year. the state mandated this revaluation this year. So-
Oh, yes, yes, I'm
so-
well aware of that.
Okay. So
I'm a former county commissioner.
I know.
I used to appoint you fellas.
I know.
And,
Yeah, I kind of knew that too. That's why I couldn't believe we didn't have any information, since you know how this board,
It was a,
excuse me,
there
how
was a-
we operate. We
there
have
was
to
a,
have that data
scheduling
to
mix-up.
even come up with
Yeah.
a fair market value that's
Yeah.
equal to your neighborhood. That's our process,
Yes.
not,
Donnie, do you have the
understand.
copies?
I called Monday, which was a holiday, to try to reschedule
okay,
for today.
all right.
I didn't get a call back. I didn't get a call back yesterday, so there was no reschedule. That's why I dropped and tried to reshuffle life to be here this morning. So I guess that's when the fireworks began, and, I'd much rather be walking my dog or going to Dairy Queen right now, personally.
Yeah, I do too.
But this is one of those life decisions that is, you have to weigh the value, and when something's totally skewed in the wrong direction, I think that's when it's time for the public to speak up. And I always admired those people coming before us with an issue, and I never represented any special interest when I was county commissioner, and I appointed those people who I felt like could deliberate fairly and equitably on behalf of the citizens. And so those resumes, maybe they were handled differently by some people, but I know it's probably a thankless job, but I appreciate the time you guys put into being here, because I know the heartburn that we went through at times trying to find good people to fill positions. So I've been there with you. It's been about 15 years, but I've been there. I know the difficulty.
Their standards are lower now. Okay. The first 10 people they called didn't want the job.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have any more questions for the gentleman.
That's great.
I don't have any at this point. I'd like to hear from you.
So I'd like to rule on his case at some point, but if we don't have the information to do that, I feel a little bit flying blind.
Donnie's here.
Okay.
He's supposed to have the information.
Yeah, let's listen to the county.
All right.
Where is
If you don't mind, Mr. Sexton, go ahead. You got,
Well, I'd like to say one other
go
thing.
right ahead.
Of the comps that I have, and this is what was sent to me from the office. Comp one is unfair, because the comparisons are not a fair comparison. The second, comp two, is an unrealistic comparison, because I know this is on Beulah Church Road somewhere. The interesting one here, and the caveat of the whole bunch here, is comp number 3. It's listed as 132 Gatewood Lane. Now, I've lived there 41 years. I've never seen this house. And it's one of those that are on the higher end that's affecting my reval. And the only other one that comes close is comp number 4, because I knew the gentleman who sold this house. And a couple of years ago, he's dying to get back down to the beach. And this house has a full basement. Mine doesn't. So the comps are, one of them I've never seen. One of them's got a full basement, and the other two are unrealistic and unfair. So I don't know how anything could be more skewed in the wrong direction than this.
Okay.
I do have
Yeah.
just one question,
Hang on.
just because you mentioned that value, your opinion of value being around that 210 number.
I said a $10,000 to $15,000 increase.
Yeah, somewhere.
Would be fair. I think
Yeah,
that's
that'd be around that number, I think.
Yeah.
And do you have some data to kind of support that number, or is it
All I can-
specifically looking at your neighborhood?
No, I did not do an appraisal. I came here today with the information that the county sent me,
Right, okay,
and I was just challenging it on that basis.
okay. I understand. All right, thank you.
All right.
Any other questions?
We'll hear from the county. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Doing fine, thank you.
Not Greg, for the record. Okay. All right. We're bringing copies of our COMPA report. Sorry about that. We didn't have it in the binder, so I apologize for that. We do have 4 comps that the owner spoke to.
I really don't even know why we're listening.
You wanna wait for
I
the-
have no,
You wanna
excuse
wait?
me.
No, you wanna
No, I
wait?
mean, we don't have any information. I have no clue what we're, I mean, Mr. Sexton gave a great speech. There's no question about it. I know he believes in equality for all county citizens, so I'm all for that. I really am. But if we don't have the data that they're talking about, how do we just listen to it and make a decision?
They're bringing the data down.
I can wait if you want to wait.
They're bringing the data down.
Okay.
Would you like to wait?
I would.
Okay.
I can't follow without knowing exactly what we have. So do we have any more appeals?
Yes, we did. He's been waiting patiently.
So. is
We
he going-
got hearing number 5, which is, have been submitted to review, and that would be tab number 5, parcel ID number 07147-845, Dorothy Bales Brayson, tab number 5, and that has been
Let's,
submitted for review.
Let's skip to who's here, then we'll go back to that one, if you don't mind. I'd rather
Accomplish
not waste their time.
Okay. We're moving to tab number 7, parcel ID number 071-23241. Mr. Keller?
Hello, Mr. Keller. As soon as we pull the property up, we'll look at your property from space.
Okay, this property is in Sheridan subdivision, which is off of Wesley Chapel Stouts Road. I imagine you guys are familiar with this area. I'll try to pull it out a little bit further.
Well, that doesn't help.
See, I learned how to take that off. Maybe. There we go.
Hello, Mr. Keller.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you. Thank you for your patience.
Well, thank you. I appreciate this opportunity. This is really an interesting thing to watch. And I understand the difficulty here of, everyone has a different definition of fairness, I think, sometimes. And when listening to some of the people here today, really sort of tugging at my heart here a little bit, okay? And realize how fortunate I guess I am. But what I wanted to discuss today is I tried to look at all the sold data that I could find that was available, because this is supposed to be a market-based decision. So I've tried doing that. And I think all the discussion, all of the work that I've done on doing the math, I came to the conclusion that my house was either valued too high or everyone else was too low. Okay? Now, what I came away with was, when I did the math off the various sold data that I could see in the database, I came up with a price of $299,000. I came up with a price of $303,000, and I came up with a price of $308,000, depending on how you do various pieces of math, right? But I couldn't come up with a $330,000, and that's why I'm here. Now, I know the assessor just recently changed the number, and he changed it and agreed that 324 is a more accurate number. Well, I still would have to say I don't agree. And let me try to go through that, if I can, very quickly. I hope you have my little package. I wish, I didn't know this, how to say it. You know, if I knew you had the computer and I knew how to send it to you, which I don't, but I probably could find, my son could teach me maybe. You could have it mechanically, and I think we'd be a lot better off. But I'll just wait till she passes it out. I know assessments are very difficult, frankly, I know that. I've been in I was in finance for 37 years and, you know, knocked around as a CFO controller for many years, so I understand it's not easy to come up with an understanding of what all the numbers tell you. But what I look at is, if you look at page 2, I'm basically saying that I think the most I could come up with looking at the sold comps were 308K, and therefore I thought the market didn't support the valuation I had. And then I did receive an assessment back and the justification. I don't think the justification is correct. And I'll try to share that with you as quickly as I can here, because I know you've got lots of people to talk to. If you go to the next page, this was my response to the assessment, and I indicated in that I felt Sherwood is a community that I think you're familiar with, has very distinct neighborhoods within it. It's a strictly divided, if you turn left, it looks like one neighborhood, if you turn right, it looks like another neighborhood. They're different size homes, different values, they're different, right? And so I have a very difficult time whenever you take sold values from one side and apply them to the other side. And that's, you know, really my basic contention. I basically believe that homes are closer to me that are sold are a better indication of value than homes that are 4 blocks away. And that's where I come from, all right? And if you go on, you can see on the next page, page 4, those are all the sold comps that occurred in 18, 19, and 2020 in my area, what I call my side of the tracks of Sherwood. Now, I understand the square footage issue. It's very difficult to equate it, and it's complicated, but I know they make an effort to it, and they make various adjustments. If I do those same adjustments, same type of adjustments, I come up with different answers, right? If you were to apply them to this data. If you look at 2020, just from a total viewpoint, you look on the right, I got a little red mark under it. The average house sold was $106 per square foot, all right? Now, I know they were a little bit larger. Mine was 129, which I understand it would be a little bit bigger. I don't disagree, it would be a little higher. But then I said, let's do a test of reasonableness of this. Is my home really 21%, worth a 21% premium over the bigger house? I don't think so. Because if you look on the left there, I compared 2 assessments. One of the houses that was sold, it was a model home. All right? If you look at that, what it tells me is that you could, if we're in competition trying to sell, the model home was 700 more square feet, all right? And you could buy it, essentially, that 700 square feet more for $41 a square foot. That didn't pass the reasonable test to me. It said that I couldn't compete with that house. I couldn't compete. I couldn't sell it for that $129, which struck me with the really next page, which I don't need to spend a whole lot of time on, because I love math, all right? I did a little variation analysis, probability, and basically I said, based on those numbers, was there any chance that a house could sell for $129 a square foot in that area? And the answer was no. There was one chance in 360. All right? And I said, well, that's not very reasonable to me. All right? So then I moved on, and I said, well, okay, let's look at all the sales. I could look at all the sales. Page 6 is all the sales. All right? And when I looked at that data, I couldn't come up with a reasonable answer either. Now, if you look at it, you can see you can see the little 4 items that are underlined in red on page 6 are the comps that I received back. I agree they were smaller houses, and I agree the square footage is probably a little higher, but it's still not reasonable, and I'll show you why in a minute. All right? Basically, on one side of the tracks, the houses sell for 106. On the other side of the tracks, they sell for 121. For the same home, 3,300 square foot home on average. Mine's 2,500, right? So right off the bat, I know there's a difference between the two areas. So when you apply that area to mine, it's not going to be right. Well, page 7 just shows where these comps came from on the map and where I live. I'm on the left side, the different side, right? And now I put for you the assessment I received back on page 8. On page 8, you'll see the 4 comps that were put as rationale for my house value. Now, first of all, they're from a different area. All right? Second, it was agreed to that the moving average was lower than mine. And I just got a notice, just as I was coming in here, I noticed got sent to me that they agree that my house should be 324,700, all right? Which is fine. They're acknowledging the fact that the moving average is more appropriate, and I buy that. But then I look a little further at the justification, and I look at it and say, well, wait a minute. All these houses sold above their assessed valuation. I got $50,000 higher sold. So either it's a temporary, higher than the values that the county puts on them. So by definition, when you use the sold values for those 3 homes, you're putting that sold value as justification for my assessed value. And if you were to go back and use the assessed value of those homes, my home would be $16,000 less.
Okay, I have a question. So you're saying these comps here, and I'm gonna say it correct, that
Right.
the county has.
That's exactly right.
That's not in your area, it's on the other side.
What I call the other side of Sheridan.
I got you. And then you're also saying that they have sold, and they sold way above their tax value.
That's right.
Okay, I'm confused right there, just a little bit, and that's
Yeah,
why I'm
now,
asking you this
I
question.
understand where you're going on
So
that.
is it 12/31/20 is the tax value, or the new 1/1/21 tax value? That's what I need to know. Which
This
value
is
you're
the new
basing
one.
it
This is
on?
the new values.
Okay,
New
these
values.
are the new values, and they're selling above that?
That's right. That's what was used.
So all of them are definitely comps that
Yes,
sold
I'm
in
not arguing that
2020,
point.
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That's true. And again, that's probably indicative of what
That's
we
the
see as a
question I
hot
have.
market, maybe a hot market and a temporary market in a different area. I don't know. I can't answer that.
Okay.
But my sense of it is, if you take the assessed valuations instead of the sold valuation for those very same homes, the new assessed valuations, my home would be $16,000 less. It would be 308. That's the highest I came up with, was 308. I'm not asking for a major change, honestly. And if you don't feel fit about it, you don't think I'm right, I don't know. I just know I'm mathematically right. I don't know if it's fairness right.
Okay.
All right?
If you don't mind, Ray, do you have any questions
Yeah.
for Mr. Kettler?
Yeah.
You've done a great job going through the mathematics, which confused me about halfway through, but you're probably a lot smarter than I am.
Yeah, I don't know if I should point this out, but I did do the, just on page 9, just to give you an idea, I took the houses in my area, I took the same adjustments that the county uses for square footage and tried to make them equitable, and then my house value came up at $299.
So you're looking at 308 right now, right?
Right.
Okay.
I could live with 308. I mean, I came up with 299, 303, 308. I mean, you could just, and then even to make matters worse, I compared a house that was sold in '21. And in '21, it came out to $118 a square foot.
I'm sorry, 21?
But I know we're not supposed to look at '21, so.
Judge, you got any questions?
I don't at this time, no.
Mark, any more questions?
I really appreciate the opportunity, and
Well, sure.
I leave it in your good judgment. Thank you.
Hang on a minute, we're not through with you. Mr. Keller, hang on a minute.
Yeah, hold on.
Hang on.
You're fine with me. I've got enough information right now with this that I need to hear what the county has to say.
Okay, Mike, good. Well, thank you. I'm sorry. Mr. Keller, have a seat, and we'll hear from the county.
I think it's the last thing to look at me today.
You're on a roll.
Yes, my lucky day. Sheridan, I'll zoom out a little bit, and I do understand, Sheridan is a neighborhood that was started around the last housing bubble, if you will. So some of the newer houses come in were of one quality. I think the builder may have went under, if that's correct, and another company come in and kind of finished out.
The original builder went bankrupt.
Sure.
Like 3 other builders came in, varying quality, so the original homes were a lot nicer than the ones that came afterwards. And so a lot of what the gentleman says is absolutely correct. There is kind of a back corner that's a lot nicer than what was built afterwards. We kind of divided it in 4. So there was the good, then the little less good, and the little less good, and the kind of very, very tract homes.
And so, given that, some of the homes in there are listed as good minus quality homes, and some are average plus quality homes. The original assessed value on this property was $330,200. And to check our valuation, I did do the comper, and I selected the comps with the least gross adjustments. And, for that reason, the ones that I have are, kind of at the other side of the subdivision. We don't have separate neighborhood numbers in there. It's considered one neighborhood. And, the subject, there was no comparables close to square footage that sold, in the area of the subject. But the comper, it come back at 324.7, which kind of supported the original value. Once it was appealed to BDR, I looked and saw there was, some movement there we could go, so I did lower it to the moving average at 324.7. And I was looking at the data he supplied, and the comps that are close to him that sold in 2020 and that he used, these houses range in square footage from 3,192 to 3,634 square feet. The subject's home is 2,559 square foot. So you're using homes that are 1,000 square foot larger, kind of getting that price per square foot. And I think that's where our differences are at. Like I say, for the comper, I had to use the comps that were closest, and the reason that those sales that were geographically closest to him weren't included is because they were had higher gross adjustments based on square footage. So that's how we got the comps we did. They are all average plus quality homes here. And that's,
All right.
that's,
Mike, you got a question for the county? No, sir. Mark, any questions?
Okay, I understand that they're bigger houses, and that's why the square footage is different, correct?
yes.
My question is, now, I'm still going on these right here, and that's what you just discussed, kind of. Is that
Right.
correct? Okay.
Right, yes.
So my question comes down to, the county has an assessed value of, let's just do the second comp over, I think the last 3 digits is 439 on Clover. 322.8, but it actually sold, now this is what I'm asking, but it actually sold in 2020 for 339. Is this right?
And so for higher, I'm sorry, which one are you on? I don't know if I have the information.
Your comp.
Column 2,
Okay.
22035.
Okay,
Clover?
yep. Yes, we have an assessed value of 322, and it sold for 339.
There you go. That's my question. How can you have an assessed value lower than the comp that was on the market that sold for 339, and you lower the value? And as he said, it's kind of correct for the next one, you know? Now, the fourth one, that one went up. And I'm just trying to figure it out. How does that happen? How can y'all go into a neighborhood and a house sells in 20, right?
Well,
The year 20, and y'all get a lower value for each one?
We wouldn't get a lower value for each one. We would pick the midpoint of all the sales. So you're gonna also find the same number that are over-assessed. We do pick the median value within the neighborhood. We don't put every home on for what it sold for. We say, okay, the typical home in here is selling for whatever. We pick the median. By definition, we're overvaluing half, we're undervaluing half. Typically, that's a very small amount within the range of reasonable. This is a challenging neighborhood.
Yes, I know.
It is.
I understand.
It is, in that we have a lot of different qualities and condition, or qualities of homes. And maybe our grading isn't reflecting enough difference in the homes in there. You know, that's kind of what I look at this and say, is maybe we haven't spread out far enough to account for the different qualities of homes.
So you're saying these houses that actually sold at those prices, you have it in your numbers for the overall neighborhood,
Yes, sir.
right? And their little region inside that neighborhood that you're talking about. But are these homes that his house is over here and they're over on the other side? Or is it just square footage wise?
I think there's a little bit of both. Is we were gonna have some good pluses. Kind of the first builders I recall were kind of back
Yeah.
in one corner. One of the other builders was fairly comparable quality, and they're kind of spread out. So I think we're gonna say that back corner and some here and there are pretty much the same. They didn't, the rest of them just kind of filled in where they could. There wasn't like little nice dividing lines. So that's why we didn't go in there and say they're different neighborhoods, just because they're just kind of checkerboard. We tried to account for difference in quality just by our grading. And I think what the gentleman has pointed out is that we probably have undervalued the higher end homes in there a little bit.
If these are the high end, then I'd say you probably did. That's my opinion.
This home's probably a smaller home. A lot of the sales may have been larger homes, which would have had a lower price per square foot, which is probably why they're, appear to be underassessed.
They are. Okay. I just had to make sure I knew what I was thinking.
What it looks like to me is where we call them good, average plus.
Yep.
Probably to get the values, we probably should have gone good minus on all of them. But that's why I think we're seeing on this quality home, we're consistently seeing a sales value higher than the assessment. Is I think just a little tweak we need in our mass assessment model in this neighborhood.
Okay, so, but is it not, okay, I won't talk anymore. I'm kind of, go ahead. You're in charge.
I got a question.
Yes, sir, Ray.
I want to follow up on what Mark said, which is a very good question, and what Phil responds. Am I thinking correctly that if you have 4 or 5 comps for 2020, and the majority of those comps were sales in the first quarter of 2020 versus another assessment where you have comps that were all in the fourth quarter of 2020. If you do the math, doesn't that affect, in the first situation I gave, would be lower than the comps that were done in the fourth quarter of last year?
When we have graphed it out, there is definitely a consistent movement upward over the course of the year. We have tried not to really focus on any given point in 2020. We try to find the most similar sales wherever they happen to fall in 2020, but your assumption is correct.
So did they have sales in 2019? I don't know how this neighborhood? Did they have,
Oh, I'm sure.
y'all
they-
have sales for 219, 218?
I'm sure they did.
But
We-
is
we-
it matched up in that total numbers, like? you know?
No, we tried.
You got
to-
most of it from the 20s, I hope.
Well, yes, there is a little.
I mean,
bit
if you
of
got all that, I don't know how many sales are in this.
I think really we've got two processes here. We did the mass appraisal end of it.
Yep.
Which is not even what we're showing here. That's just, this big book here that's full of numbers.
Sure, sure.
That is when we show the taxpayers, we show them this piece just to say, hey, here's coming at it from a separate direction. Is that first number reasonable? And it looks like in this situation, our model, this big book here, slightly undervalued the average plus. Well, kind of fairly consistently undervalued the average plus. So from what I'm seeing is we have two issues. We've kind of gone down two paths. Looks like we can justify our sales, our value based on the sales. I think at the very end, the gentleman's argument took an equity swing that were not necessarily equitable with the other similar homes. So that's what I saw, is we switched from sales comparison to equity.
Yeah, I know.
And I think that's the situation gentlemen are going to have to look at is, I think we pretty well proved that that's probably a rational sales price. Is it equitable? It looks like it isn't a little bit.
Well,
So
it sounds like to me, the people that bought later in 20, right? Get a better tax value than the people that lived there for a year or two. And you've got the medium and the, you see what I'm getting at?
If you
Wait a
look at their
minute, that's what
sales-
it looks like to me. Obviously, I'm probably wrong.
If you looked at the sales ratio early in the year compared to later in
Yeah.
the year, I think you would see a difference, yes. That market moved during the year.
Okay.
And we're kind of blending it all in together.
Thank you.
A blend. I like that. That was good.
Any more questions for the county, Dutch?
No, I'm good right now. I'm good right now.
Mike? Ray, still good?
I'm good.
Mark?
Sorry.
Thank you.
I have one comment. I was just trying to understand the discussion about when you said the median price. When there's sort of a median, so I'm still confused as to.
Well, let the county explain it
comps
to
that
me.
are shown. Why would you use a sold value if you're comparing to a median? I don't get it. So mathematically, it confuses me, all right? And the other, I shouldn't stand up, I'm sorry, but.
Yeah, please do.
My back is killing me.
Oh, then sit down. You don't have to.
It's fine, yeah, helps.
I don't know.
If I sit too long, it's getting worse. But I'm having, if you look at page 9 in the package I share with you, I looked at the comps and I understand the issue with the square footage. And I tried to adjust the square footage the same way the county does it. They were using between $85 and $86 a square foot in adjustment on all the adjustments that I saw. So I did the same thing. And that's where I came up with, if you took those larger homes, adjusted them down to be the same size as mine, you came up with an average of $113 per square foot for a 2,500 foot home based on the sales in my area, all right? And the other issue to it is, 2 of those sales were, by the way, one was in December and one was in October. We're in the 4th quarter. So I thought that was a reasonable way to look at it.
And I thought at the beginning of your point there about the median, and you don't understand it, I'd like for Phil to try to explain it to you so you can understand it. Because see, I have a hard time understanding lots of things, so I kind of need help explaining.
I don't
So,
understand how you apply it if you're
yeah.
creating a median out of, then.
Well, let him,
you do more comparisons to a median.
let him explain the county's vision or
Okay.
purpose in that, I guess.
And understand what we're seeing here today is really our double check on ourselves. This isn't our primary method. Our primary method is we come in here and we got all these price per square foot for a average quality home or a garage or a industrial building. We take the book value, we apply it to all the parcels in the county. Within each neighborhood, we have just about 1,000 of them. We say, okay, here's the book value, and here's its ranges. Here's what they actually sold for. and we actually say, okay, you know, we're coming in at 87% on 113% or whatever. We move it to the median of our assessment equals the median of the sales. So we line them up. The differences between grades and everything are what's represented in this book. And I think that's where we've got a little problem in this neighborhood, is we're saying the difference between an average and an average plus, or a average and average minus, which I think is the range within your neighborhood. I think we have average pluses to average minuses. Looks like we probably understated that difference a little bit. So if you look at the average pluses, I think you're seeing they're pretty consistently undervalued. But I bet if you look at the average, they're pretty much lining up, and we probably got the opposite case of the average minus. So we try to line up the typical to the typical, and the book's telling us what the differences are. You know, it's mass appraisal. You know, we try to get 90% of them within 10%. That's a pretty good challenge in there, and then that's what this process is for here, is to get the misses.
I think I understand.
Yeah, it's.
But I could, I guess I would say, I could agree to a higher valuation for my home if all those assessed valuations were higher for the other homes.
I understand that. I just wanted you to hear that explanation.
Okay.
You know,
I mean,
I'm sorry,
not-
Mr.
Not
Chairman.
that I want to agree with, but
I know,
I'd be, in fairness, I would.
Okay.
If it was mathematically right.
All right,
Let's move back to Mr. Sexton.
beg your pardon?
Move back to Mr. Sexton.
Oh, we finally got the data?
That's all the appellants present.
Randy.
We are now going to go back to Mr. Sexton, which is parcel ID number 060960075.
All right, let's take about a 5-minute break. We could.
Actually, so, whatever. Yeah, whatever.
We ready? All right. Now we can hear you again. We were not paying much attention to you, Mr. Keller, because we had to go to the bathroom.
That definitely helped. Not that I want to stay that much longer now. Don't think I want to stay in. Don't get started up.
Yeah, we wanted to hear your case with a
Briefly.
clear mind. All right, back to Mr. Sexton's case. We're here from the county.
All right, you do have the compa report?
We do.
Okay. We had 4 sales. They are all from the neighborhood. It supports our value of 289.2. The compa came in at 3019. To speak to the owner's question about comp number 3 not being able to see it, I think the reason that is so the subject property is in blue on the extreme right-hand side of your screen, and comp number 3 is on a long driveway off of it right here.
Mm-hmm.
So it was built in '99, so that might be some of the reason why it's a little bit. It's off the road, so to speak. It's got a driveway to it. Comp number 4 has a basement, but as you can see, it's adjusted for it, and it's the 4th comp. So that was also taken into consideration.
What?
Any questions for the county? Ray?
This is, the subject's on Gatewood Lane,
Yes, sir.
built in 1980, and the sales price, you don't have any NAs, is it?
Correct.
Okay. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ray. Dutch?
No, you clarified my question just on that 132 Gatewood Lane. I was
Yes,
curious
sir.
about that, so no other questions on my end.
Mark?
No, I think it's good.
Mike? In all fairness, Mr. Sexton, we'll give you, if you got any other comments, we'll hear them. Since we now just got this information. And I'm assuming you already had it though, right?
I'm sorry, what?
You already had this information from the county?
Yes.
They're comparables?
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
In prior to this meeting, right?
Yeah, and
Okay.
I'm delighted to find out where, although it's listed as 132, I've never seen that house, and it's a long way off of Gatewood Lane. So that's a rock road that I assumed was a private driveway, and I've never gone down it. In 41 years, I've never ventured down there at all, and so that was nice to find out. But I don't think the comparison of that one, I guess, passes the smell test. But I think one of the things that is going on here, and I was listening to the questions of the gentleman before me, and the sale price and the appraised price and the anomaly that's going on right now in every county that's around Mecklenburg County. And the big engine driver right now is Charlotte and Mecklenburg and all the counties around. And over in the Valentine area, which is not far from Weddington, homes are being sold for $50,000 and $60,000 more than the asking price. It's like, let's make a deal is going on for the people in the hot spots of the surrounding areas. And if you extrapolate that information to a smaller scale towards Union County, you can see 20, 25, 30,000 more than the asking price. And it's that kind of a crunch in the housing market right now that's driving this anomaly that's happening. And it's very, I guess, on the homeowner who's been in a home 41 years like myself, not planning to go anywhere. It's a huge disadvantage because it's an unrealistic spike that's going on. And a lot of the homes that are being sold, and just about every one of them in my area has been sold. I'll take an example 4 or 5 times, but the homes on each side of me have both been sold 5 times. Now, what does the owner do, or most owners do, when they're selling a home? And this has happened 5 times on each side of me. They put new windows in, they paint it, they put new countertops. They do things to enhance the value of their home. And when you do that 5 times and then it's sold, that impacts the people like myself who have been in their home for a long period of time that haven't sold and haven't even, they got professional stagers now who stage a home for that specific purpose.
Let me stop you there for a second. So in this 5 times that your house on both sides of you is sold, has it always been on an increase? Like
Always.
From
Always.
$100 to 110, and then the
Always.
next one 120.
It's never been less.
It's never been less.
No. And when you consider the anomaly we're in right now with houses being sold at extravagant figures above the asking price, how that impacts the surrounding people, and especially on a reval, which I guess the timeliness of it, in my mind, was unfortunate in many ways, because in my mind, it could have been postponed because they did schools,
But
churches.
you've already heard that.
Pardon?
Being a county commissioner, you already understand that the county was required to, because
yeah,
the
yeah,
values,
yeah.
as you said, kept going up and up.
Yeah,
And
some
after
are
it
on the
reaches
floor.
a certain point, it has to be,
Yeah, I
what?
understand that.
By the state of North Carolina says you have to reevaluate. So
I
you know
understand that. It
right?
was, I mean, if they can postpone school for a year.
Yeah, that'd be great too.
They can do that. They can do anything they want to. Raleigh.
Right, I understand.
Raleigh makes the rules.
But we're not here to discuss that issue.
I understand that.
All we're doing is talking about your neighborhood and your house
I'm trying
and
to
the
give-
houses down below that it's sold. That's all we're doing.
I'm trying to give you the flavor on both sides of me and what went into those 5 different sales and how that,
Right, and I
how that
understand that.
impacts me. And when you take it up and down the street,
Yep.
that magnifies that process even more.
And it's happened all over the county, I agree.
Okay?
I agree.
I doubt there's very few people that have been in their home in Union County 41 years.
No, you got me beat. I've only been in 20, so you're right.
I rest my case.
34.
And this is maybe more of a statement than a question, but kind of to your point, I get it on the timing of the reevaluation. But then, when you look at it, going back to the last reval
Yeah,
at
we hit it.
1/1/2015,
It was the opposite.
in general, a lot of homes were carrying less assessed value than true value when you get into that 18, 19, and 20 period. So I know it still doesn't make it feel any better to you, but
Y'all at least feel one
Yeah.
good thing.
Yeah.
We all pay the same taxes.
Yeah.
You know, we have to pay it too. You
I'm
know?
sorry, what?
We have to pay for the evaluation that's taking place too. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, yours and everybody else's.
Yeah, I'm not
I mean,
asking.
yeah, the 20% increase, 30% increase, whatever it is.
I'm not asking for anything
I
special
know,
for Huey
I
Sexton.
know. I didn't say
I'm
you
giving
were.
I'm giving you the examples.
Of how it affects you.
No, it affects me just like it does affects anyone else. I'm trying to show you the
What?
unfairness of the process and the matrix that are used with the multiple selling of homes over and over and over. And each time those other homes, they go up. Some of them are sold for more than they asked for. But for the person who has been there 41 years, try to understand how that impacts their value when they don't have any plans to go anywhere else.
Okay.
And so
I got
the ascending cost all around impacts that. And for that, especially those who are retired on fixed incomes and.
Yeah, I heard that at the beginning too, yeah. You've
Well,
already said
am I
all-
boring you?
No, I was just saying, you've told us that before, that's all.
Well, I've heard you repeat that same thing 4 times now.
All right, oh,
I just
all right,
wanted,
referee time.
all right?
Thank you, Mr. Sexton. All right, do we need to go back to the case, Van, where she wants us to hear her case, but she's not here?
Yes.
Or do we do that in deliberation?
No, you have to, if taxpayer, if
Okay.
it's things they can't make it, you have to review it, if you have questions from the appraisal staff.
Because I think that's, is that hearing number 5?
Yeah.
Bell?
So we go back to tab number 5, parcel ID number 071-47845, Dorothy Bales Brazen.
Number 5.
Number 5.
Okay, she's disputing her tax value, of course. But what evidence does
I know.
she give us to dispute that?
She's using, section 1, she purchased her house in 2019. So, she purchased her house in 2019 for $299,000.
How much?
$299.
$299.
She's stating that it has not appreciated to be the value at $369, and her opinion of market value is $335.
Is she looking for, on that same page, is she looking for an elderly exemption?
She references that, she says she's 77 years old, so I believe there's a law or rule that allows for lower valuations for property for persons older than 75. That is not the case in North Carolina. There is an elderly exclusion that if you meet the income requirements, you can qualify for a 50% reduction in value in your property. And that's age 65, but she also has to qualify based on income level. So what we can do from that standpoint is have someone from the county reach out to her and
Verify that.
talk to her about the elderly exclusion, give her an application, she can apply for that and see if she qualifies. Angie, would you mind doing that? Okay, make a note of that, please. But that's a separate issue than the market value appeal.
Okay,
Can I ask one question?
you sure can, sir.
So on that one, this property wasn't like a foreclosure or anything. She paid $291 at fair market.
So, this is number 5, let me check my.
Who's the appraiser on this? Is it Greg? Greg? Yeah, Greg can present the county's
Greg?
information.
to speak to this one.
County's got good comps on it.
Yeah, that's what I was just wanting to see.
This home, it's in, it's Walden at Austin Village. You probably noticed right there at the Potter and Chestnut, close to the Harris Teeter, kind of right across the street. And in my reply, reply letter, I did give her the number to inquire and apply for the elderly exclusion on that reply letter, since she did state her age. But this home, like I said, we have a lot of comps in there. Matter of fact, my first 2 comps have 0% adjustments. Assessed values at $369,400. Comp will come in at $368,400. Pretty much within a 0.5% or so. So that supports it.
What was her previous tax value?
Well, so this is a new neighborhood, so we were using 2015 values. Most of these homes were, I think the subdivision was started in 2018 or 2019.
If I may, I'm going to interrupt 1 second. She indicated in her paperwork she paid $299.
I noticed that.
The sales price is $335,500 is
I
what
know,
she
just-
actually paid.
Yeah.
The
On
ridge,
329 of 19.
Yes.
the prior assessment was for $326,200.
I don't have any questions.
Mike, you got any questions? Dutch?
No.
Ray? All right, thank you.
We have one more to review, that's tab number 8, parcel ID number 07147-208, Jennifer Parsons.
If I read this correctly,
They,
it says the taxpayers is at 303,700, that's the same as we are.
is that right?
Looks like
So,
it.
So there's no decision to make.
no,
All right.
We agree, they agree.
Greg
like I
can
say,
explain, Greg can explain this one.
I'll try to speak to that one as well.
Be interested to hear this one.
So, it's my day. Her original value was 307,800. Her requested value was 303,700, which I did adjust to at the informal level. And, you know, her main thing was the homes that she was being compared to had built-in shelves and different things. But she also mentioned the fireplace. I did see that we had a gas fireplace listed that I did remove from her listing.
Okay.
She had also an issue with a water meter in her sidewalk. She had some photos of that was a bit odd. So, you know, I did lower it to her opinion and value at the informal level, but she did want it to come to BER. But
Okay, thank you, Greg. All right, Bill.
That's all the appellants, and we're ready to deliberate.
Yes, we are.
If you could, just one
All right, beg
moment.
your pardon, Phil. Yes, sir.
If I had just a moment, Mr. Smith on, which was hearing number 4, he gave us a sheet of paper.
Yeah.
I told you I'd come back with you some information, and I believe everyone has a copy of it. His property is 1442 square feet. Every one of them he compared to was larger, up to 2,000 square feet. So if you just divide the price per square foot, price per square foot, just the land alone is gonna add $7 over that range. So, yeah, we are about $16 higher on his home than those other larger homes, and that's what our market calls for, and we seem to be dead on the sales price.
So that's hearing number 4.
It was. I just told you, gentlemen, I'd come back with square footages on all those properties, because I assumed that's what the difference was, and it turned out that was the case.
Did y'all get that sheet of paper? Is that it?
All right, Bella.
Okay. Tab number 1, parcel ID number 071291193.
Well, I think the county assessed it unusual lot. They've given a new value of, I think on 3 of these lots, $1,200. So I'm suggesting that we
Yeah, I didn't see.
agree with the county, only suggestion would agree with the county on the lot value.
yeah, he didn't have any problem with the lot value, I think, he said.
Do you hear a motion?
And I thought, you're just dealing with tab.
No, number 1.
Tab just one. Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good with the county's number. I make a motion, we accept, did you put it in form of a motion, Ray?
No.
I'll put it in the form of a motion, we accept the county's value at $1,200 for
Okay.
tab 1.
Here a second?
Second.
Mark seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign no. Thank you.
Tab number 2, parcel ID number 071291191.
In case I'm missing something, I thought the comps were okay, and there wasn't any evidence to me
Presented.
to support the change.
I agree. I'll second it.
So I'll make a motion, we accept the value that the county has on tab 2 at 126.8.
And Mark got a second from Mark. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign no. Thank you.
Tab number 3, parcel ID number 09372-014R.
I had more notes on this one, just about than any of them, I think.
Okay, that's when he changed his opinion from 0 to 150 based on, was it the square footage on this one? 159? Do y'all,
So right now, the county's at 194.5.
Yeah,
Right.
right?
And I think that 0 was just, it just wasn't complete.
No, she just said-
Her opinion of value was, what I had was 150.
That's what our.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Did-
Yeah.
okay.
So that's
Okay.
what I'm going on.
Yeah.
But was there any evidence for that value?
She had the appraisal that was done in 18 now,
And that one,
was 149. If I remember, we glanced at it. I think it was passed around to us or something.
oh, that's right, we had to turn it back in, didn't we?
I don't know.
But that was back in 218, I think.
Right. That's
So
right.
that's like 3 years.
I just look at the comps on it, and I just had a question about, is the grade correct?
Fair.
What, when you look at the difference in average and fair, is fair one step down from average?
It's, 3 steps down, average minus fair plus fair.
Okay.
Okay.
The next one down is like fair minus.
And the next one down is fair minus.
Right.
What did the,
How much would fair drop it to, Phil?
Give me a second and I can give you a percentage.
I'm just, this is just on site, when I look at comp 2 and the subject, it just doesn't, you know,
Oh, no comparison.
yeah, I mean, just,
yeah, they had what, comp 1 is 234 on May 4th of 20, 245, 223, 233 on the last comp.
it looked like to me comp 2, I mean, that's like a 2-story brick home.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely different.
Yeah.
All right,
Trying to find it, a lot of pages here.
I'm going to suggest a kind of a fair minus grade, 20% of what a drop of what the county thinks is assessed at, and that would give a 194, 500. So that would give I'm suggesting a tax value of 155, 600.
So that's what it would do, you're thinking, if you dropped it to fair minus. Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Okay, so what would what's the land value, 27.9, is that correct, 27.9, so you subtract out that, or just do it from the 194.50, 500?
That's my math.
Okay, that's how you're looking at it?
Yes, the difference between fair and fair minus is 22% multiplier.
Okay, so I'm
the
That's
improvement
just
would go
applied
to
to the
22%.
improvements. I think that's Mark. Correct, Mark?
Do
That's
I-
just applied to the improvements.
Yeah, to the building itself at 194, so 22%, right,
It
20%?
would-
36.
It's actually gonna be a little different than that, because our standard is 100%. Fair gets you to 72%. A fair minus gets you to 54, so actually the difference between that, it's 22% difference, but it's really gonna be quite a bit larger, because you're taking 50.
Yeah, it sounded pretty high.
To get it to that number, I feel,
It's gonna be a higher percentage.
Oh, yeah, it's a big percentage value.
yeah, that's, yeah.
Yeah, my phone's dying, so, exactly. Yeah, my phone shows this moment got it.
Well, it'd have to be just the difference in the two, wouldn't
What, the 20, you're talking about, value minus 27
it?
land
Yeah,
value?
yeah, 'cause that'd be the
So
improvement.
that'd be the,
Yeah. So a
Is it-
29% decrease between those two grades.
So the comp one is 5 miles away, 5.5 miles away? Comp two is 2 miles away?
They're challenging to find comps, yes.
Yeah, I think that's part of the dilemma here on,
Yeah, I'm,
I think drop it even further if you did.
but,
Phil, that 20-some% was from average to fair, right?
The average fare was accounted for in that 194,500. If we lowered it from fair to fair minus, we decrease the improvement portion by another 29%.
So the improvement portion of the value is $166,600.
Right.
You want to adjust that, to make sure we understand what you're asking.
Okay, good, that's good. So 166,
yeah, I think the way we were talking is taking that from fair to fair minus.
then I'm gonna add back the land value, 27,
700.
900. It's 160,700, so I got 155 if you take 20% off the, or 160,700 if you take the 20% off the improvement value, then add back the land.
That's up to y'all. I'm just giving you numbers.
No, that's right.
yeah, I know.
I'm not involved in that.
I still like my 155,600.
Yeah, that's kind of,
You're good. I checked, you're good.
to get it to carry forward though, I mean, I remember hearing that at our last
Yeah,
meeting,
but
to
you
apply
can't-
that percentage to where it
Here's
stays
my-
with the property.
Here's my suggestion. Is we lower it to the 155,600. We just put that number in the system. Additionally, put it to fair minus moving forward. So I think you'll largely get there moving forward.
Yeah, 'cause
Okay.
I think that ties, I mean, even though the appraisal she's got has a little bit of age on it, I like that appraisal maybe more than the comps.
Mhm.
And that kind of gets it.
What kind of comps did they have in that appraisal? I didn't see.
I
it.
didn't,
I didn't look that close.
yeah, because we just passed it down quick. I just,
Okay,
I looked at the number and the date.
all right.
So Phil, you're saying of the two options, it's better to go to just lower the
Just
the
put the
fair
number on it.
minus rather than a number?
I can do both. I can go ahead and put it on this number for this rebalance.
Okay.
But I'll change the underlying data to say a fair plus, which will largely get us there moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
Fair minus, not fair plus.
But fair minus, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I'll make the motion that we reduce it to the 155.6 and it carry the fair minus grade.
Here, a second.
Second.
Ray, second, and all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Like sign no. Thank you.
Tab number 4, parcel ID number 071170083.
This is an equity issue again. Taxpayers' opinion of value was what, 257? But then we discussed the $150 a square foot, which you, Randy, brought up the attention of it's 216.5. Do you remember that? Is that what y'all have down?
And then this is the one that was, they just brought us information back on about
That was
Square.
Here, square foot.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was a square footage issue. I'm trying to remember where I put that.
You got this? That's on
Yeah,
me.
that's what I wanted. I had, got it.
Well, they did that.
Yeah. Some of these still.
All right.
I get it that his is smaller on square footage. I'm just trying to look at some of these other ones down towards another that are close to his size, like 1513 and 1536 as far as square footage.
So those square footage costs, they were correct in his presentation? Is that why we?
Well, I think they're showing the square footage of the improvement.
Okay, yeah. All right.
I mean, I reckon the only thing that kind of sticks out to me, you kind of pick out the ones that are close in size like that. One's 1517, one's 1536, one's 1513, and those are,
Close.
yeah, they're like 157 to 159 square feet.
Right.
He's still at 166 square feet. That's the only thing that stuck out to me after we got.
I guess you can make that a motion then. Are you interested?
Yeah.
Is that what you were
I mean-
thinking, is 159 a square foot? I mean, that's, what would that put it at?
Yeah, or just like 160, it's rounded off to 160 square foot. I mean, he is still smaller, but just by a little bit, not by much.
Randy, how's your calculator working?
That's,
160 would be what?
that's 237.20.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It's not far from 239. All right,
Yeah.
that's fine with me.
Yeah.
You want to do it?
Yeah,
All right.
I'll just make the motion, we change it to 160 per square foot. It's
Second.
not gonna be much of a change, but.
All right, second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign no, thank you.
Parcel ID number 060960075, Mr. Sexton.
Mr. Sexton. All right, I got to try to find that information again. Here it is. Is this all y'all have? All right.
Right here.
Well, just looking at the overall comps in that neighborhood,
Yeah,
that's all I can look at.
yeah.
It doesn't look like it's off.
I mean, I kind of get it on the timing, we can't do anything about the timing of it.
All the other stuff, it has nothing to do with the actual neighborhood and evaluation, so that's why I'm kind of going, this is the only data that we have
Right.
for me to make a decision on. So I make a motion, we accept the county's value.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Got a motion, got a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign no, thank you.
Tab 5, parcel ID number 0714785.
We were gonna table that one, Bell, until the age, and income, elderly situation, they were gonna find out that, is that correct?
That's a separate issue, that's not a table, matter.
Nah, y'all either she'll apply or not.
Okay, so we make a decision,
You need to make a decision on the market value, tax relief is a different issue.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, that if that's the case, I believe that's hearing number 5, correct?
Right.
And I've looked those comps that they have compared to what she has, and I believe the opinion of value, even though it's 335, that the county's value has a 369. So I have to go for the county on
Yeah, I
this.
think the county has good comps on it.
But it's just comps.
Yep, and
So that's my motion.
I'll second it.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign no, thank you.
But Angie will reach out to her to see if she qualifies.
That's sure, perfect.
tab number 6 is a no-show. And
So
Do I hear a recommendation that we go with the county's value on that particular
I'll make the
property?
motion.
Got a first and a motion from Mark,
Second.
second by Mike. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign no. Thank you.
tab number 7, parcel ID number 071232241.
All right, that's number 7.
He's at 308.
Yeah.
County's at 324.
24. That's within 10% or whatever.
I mean, I was just making notes as I was listening to the. The only thing is, the grade's correct, right? I mean, there's no,
Well, I noticed the county did lower it from 330 to 324.
yeah.
New
And
opinion.
then
value.
I had a note here about his comps, taxpayer comps maybe being, these are just notes I had, larger. When you get into the per square foot method, I mean, that's,
Yeah.
I'm with you with it being that close.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I'm good with the number that the county has on it with it being that close.
Is that a formal motion?
Yeah, that'd be in the form of a motion.
Have a
I'll
motion.
second it.
Mark's seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign no. Thank you.
Okay.
Tab number 8, parcel ID number 071472208.
I make a motion, we accept the county's value, new opinion of value of 303,700.
Second.
Have a first and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign no. Thank you.
Tab number 9 is no-show.
Make a motion, we accept county value, none.
Have a motion?
Second?
Second for Mark. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign no. Thank you.
Tabs 10 to 17 are staff recommendations. Tabs 10 to 17 are staff recommendations.
Okay, 10 through 17, I make a motion, we accept the value of opinion by the county with the fact that they did agree to it.
Second.
I have a first and second. Mike seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign no. Anything else?
We have the informal staff recommendations.
Oh, yes, I saw that.
Oh, yeah.
Bunch of paper.
And again, these are the informal. These will have every chance to come before you if they request it.
Okay.
I make a motion, we accept the informal staff recommendations as presented.
I second.
Got a first and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign no. Thank you.
Is there,
Okay.
That's it. right?
Anything else? Do I hear a motion that?
I make a motion, we
We
adjourn.
adjourn.
So moved.
All right.
So done? We're done?
All in favor, say aye.
Wait a minute, he wants to talk.
I just had a question. Apparently you made no change to mine. You kept it at 324. I didn't,
Yes.
I'm a little surprised, honestly.
Yeah.
Who's,
And I just want to share with you that I'm surprised because
Yeah,
I know my math is right.
yeah, your math was right.
who seconded the
Yeah,
motion
your
to
math
adjourn,
was
please?
right.
Who had the second on the adjournment?
Mark.
I'm-